Can you hear me? Can you hear me right? Can you hear me right? You hear me cry. Can you hear me?
What's up, Knights? How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's doing fucking good, because I'm doing fucking good. So, here's a video I've been kind of like dreading for a while now. I wasn't sure how I was going to structure it, what I was going to say. So, let's attempt to do so. As you all know, I was diagnosed bipolar a few years back. And to say it's been a battle is a fucking understatement. Absolute understatement. And I haven't done a video on bipolar in quite some time. So, what is bipolar? You know, it's the average person. It's like, yeah, person's crazy, or, you know, or whatever label you want to put on it. You know, it's not because they don't are being mean or anything. It's just they don't understand. You know, it's you know, so cut people some slack. You know, be patient with people on how they treat you as far as your mental illness. You know, you really need to get past that. It's not your job to make people understand what you're going through. It's your job to understand what you're going through. Don't worry about everybody else. All right. I know it's tough. It's a lot tougher to say, but it's unfortunately, if you want to get well and be in control of your illness, mental illness, then one of the steps you have to do. So, what is bipolar? For a long time, I always wanted to try to figure out the proper way how to explain what it's like, so someone who does understand it can kind of understand. And I can throw a lot of fucking medical jargon out there. You know, I could talk about different levels of psychosis and different symptoms, but you know, the average person, what the fuck does that mean? It means nothing. So the easiest thing I could tell you to make it easier for you to understand is, ever go drinking, get fucking hammered, you ever get high? Well, basically, that's what bipolar is. From a manic standpoint, you know, because you're basically going to two different worlds, and you don't even realize it. You know, the difference is with someone who's drinking or getting high, they know they're drinking, they know they're getting high, and they expect a mentality change, right? A mood change. You know, it's something that's expected. Well, with someone with bipolar, it's like a slow, gradual escalation. You don't even realize that it's happened to you. So, you know, and that's it. It's like a frog in water, right? If you put the frog in water and heat the water up, the frog doesn't realize it's fucking boiling to death, right? Same type of thing. And that's the only thing I can relate to is from a manic state. From depression point of view, which is kind of like the other end of the scale. I don't have a lot of experience with depression, only minor. My lows are very temporary, thank God. I've had experience in it, but I don't have enough experience dealing with depression to fully articulate that level of psychosis. So I'll just leave it at that. But what I can tell you about depression, and little things you can do to help you manage the depression side of it. I'm going to get into the whole manic part of it after this. But I just want to quickly touch on the whole depressive thing. I think the best thing to do, at least this is what I did in my case, was give yourself little goals. And make them goals like for let me give you a scenario. So let's say I'm depressed as fuck. You know, I don't want to get out of bed, or you don't want to get out of bed. And You know, whether it be going to work or fucking taking care of your kids or, you know, the thought of doing any kind of fucking tasks, you know, seem unattainable. You don't want to do it, nothing. Well, why don't you try this? And make the tasks to get out of bed or what you have to do, make them very small. Whether it be something as small as, I don't know, a task of like cleaning the dishes maybe, or make it a task that simple enough or even positive enough to get you out of bed. And once you're out of the bed, that's the first step. You know, I know that's what I did. Like whenever I had my periods of low, I would just tell myself, okay, let's just do some small task and then see where that goes. You know, like a baby step. You know, that was a big thing of mine earlier on when I was diagnosed. You know, I had to make all these changes and figure so much shit out, and I had all this fucking pressure, you know, to change, to fix my life, to confront my illness, to confront my drug addiction or my alcohol problem. I had all this pressure to fucking change, fix everything overnight. You know, but what I used to communicate to my ex-wife all the time was, baby steps, baby steps. I can't change this overnight. I gotta take small, little steps, right? And you know, sometimes you'd take a little step and then you'd fall back a step. But as long as you're always making those initial baby steps, there's always some kind of forward momentum. So that's the only piece of advice I think I can give when it comes to depression. And now we'll talk about the dreaded manic state. We'll get into that in a second. All right. Whew. So let's talk about the craziness that is manic. Or, what's the other word? I haven't actually talked about this shit out loud in a while. Hypomania, that's what I'm looking for. Or mania. So, lots of my other videos, you know, I preach that, you know, that I used cocaine to manage it, and it worked for quite some time. And when I was reflecting back on just everything, you know, this is just in recent weeks, because, which I'll get to the importance of diet and fitness later, but, you know, I have a lot of things going on in my life right now. I got a lot of pressure, you know, a lot of things going on, and I'm handling it extremely well, and with no medication. We'll get into medication in a bit. And I just kind of caught myself in the moment thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, you know, I'm dealing with a lot of shit right now, you know, and even in the last, you know, you guys seen what I've just dealt with in just the last year, just even after the accident, was what it's been like, you know, and, but I kind of noticed a change when I changed my diet and started working out on a daily basis. You know, even though a lot of the times my structure at the time was a fucking mess, but eating really well, you know, no fucking sugars, no refined carbs, you know, eating really clean and fucking working out has made a huge fucking difference. You know, it's no wonder why I've always been why I like working out so much and why it's such a strong need of mine, because, but notice to myself, I had no idea how good it was making me feel. I just didn't fucking put 3 and 3 together, right? So, yeah, and it's making a massive difference. Massive difference. You know, now when I find myself, if I'm, you know, escalating in a manic state, you know, it's very short-lived. It's very short-lived. Do I still use cocaine? Bet your fucking ass I do, you know. Cocaine and sex, baby. Hey, I am who I am, right? I don't see that fucking changing anytime soon. But on further reflection, you know, I'm looking at some of the critical points of my life on where, you know, where things really got out of hand or I made some pretty big fucking mistakes. And when I look back at everything, if I was honest with myself, the medication, the antipsychotics, antidepressants that I was on, off and on, made a major impact on some of those bad decisions. Big time. Big fucking time. You know, was the medication all to blame? No, of course not. But it definitely played a major fucking factor, folks. A major factor. Now, I'm not saying that medication can't help some of you guys out there. You know, it's like an aspirin, for example. An aspirin helps some people. But for some people, it's pretty fucking harmful, right? And that's where, you know, where I reflect on, like, every time I've started medication or experimented medication, you know, something extremely bad happened in my life. You know, did anything bad happen before medication, before I was diagnosed, you know, shit like that? Yeah, I was a crazy motherfucker, but nothing that put my life, made such an impact on my life that it put my life in a fucking shambles. You know, I remember the first time I was on medication, I was at fucking Costco. I took time off, I was on medication. Not only was I fucking crawling out of my skin at home, not that the home life wasn't very good at the time, but still, when I came back to work, what'd I fucking do? I took a fucking fire extinguisher off the goddamn wall, and I sprayed one of my coworkers with a fire extinguisher. Like, fucking seriously? You know? And it just goes on and on. You know, I can go on about different things that I've done with the medication. And I'm not going to go on for stories and stories, but, you know, what happened, my trip out west, the accident, you know, the Latuda was taken, definitely played a role in that. You know, was the trip hard? You know, was there lots of ups and downs on the trip? Yeah. But, you know, the thing is the medication kind of almost amplified what was happening and made what was happening uncontrollable, you know, or unknowingly uncontrollable. And when I look back at it, like, sure, there was a lot of things happening, you know, you know, I missed the avalanche, and friggin', you know, I ran into that fucking river on the lake, my fucking dog died, my so-called best friend at the time turned in to be something that she wasn't, you know, it just went on and on and on, right? But when I look back at it, you know, I've had my life's been up and down constantly all my life, but there was never any fucking thoughts of suicide or whatever, you know, like, if there was, it was very glimpse, but, you know, I know maybe I embellished my thoughts a little bit because of the video, but I was trying to portray a very real thing that happens to people who are bipolar. Like, these things happen, you know. And, you know, I did the video afterwards letting you guys know that no, I'm okay and fucking off myself. But, folks, just, I guess at the end of the day, what my advice is, if you choose to take the medication route, and sometimes you're almost forced into it, like I was, because I'm forced into it. Fucking ex-wife forced me into it. Fucking family, probably to a certain degree, maybe forced me into it. Well, not at that moment, but when I came back to Waterloo the hospital, my family was dead on sending me on getting medication, right? So my advice to you guys is, please, 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 be very aware. Be very aware about these drugs, and they're very, very powerful, and they're very, very. Don't take them fucking lightly. All right, it's just be very, very conscious, and like, don't just take them like a prescription. Be smart about it. You know, really track what's happening when you're on this medication. You know, I'm not going to get. I think that's beating a dead horse with that. So, just please be careful when dealing with any antipsychotics, antidepressants. Okay, I've seen so much shit on it, and you know, I'll never go back on it ever again. You know, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna eat fucking right, work my fucking ass off, stay disciplined, keep a journal. You know, be very mindful, and it's gonna go a long way. It's gonna go a long way. Like I said, and keys to good mental health, whether you're bipolar, you know, ADHD, or fucking whatever your mental fucking illness is. You know, I can't stress this enough. Sure, fucking structure is extremely important. You know, it's right up there. You know, because without structure and like a safe home or a safe environment or a good environment, that battle will be it'll be extremely tough to win. So once you have established that structure in your life, you have to fucking eat right and you have to fucking exercise. I mean going for a fucking walk. I mean, like, you have to work out, guys. Really get that fucking, you really have to work out with friggin' weights. Cut that sugar out of your diet. Now, I'm not saying cut your sugar out of your diet and fucking crap out of your diet for the rest of your friggin' life. Have a balance here, folks. Have a fucking balance. Because this keto diet that I've been on, like, I've dieted in the past. I've always had carbs when I worked out, but now that I have 0 carbs, 0 sugar, it's made a major impact. And one of the dangers of someone who's bipolar, especially in my case, is huge. That if I don't fucking sleep, out comes Sid! Like, not sleeping is very, very bad for me. It'll fucking throw me in a manic state. It might sometimes trigger a fucking alter personality. So with a lot of good eating and really strenuous exercise, I have no problem fucking sleeping. And it's made such a massive fucking difference. Massive difference. Another thing I want to mention too, because it's pretty common with people with mental illness to abuse drugs and alcohol. I definitely am not an exception to that rule. But how can I say this? I really don't believe that alcohol and drugs I guess what I'm saying is I don't regret it. The drugs and alcohol fill the need, and I still have some of those needs today. I still fucking party. I have needs, and I want to have a good time. I want to have great moments. I want to have great experiences. So I still incorporate that in my life, and it doesn't affect my life in a negative way. It only enhances my life very positively, very positively. So try to keep that in mind too. If you're using drugs and alcohol and you suffer from mental illness, there's a reason why, you're abusing that. So don't get too hard on yourself. Just be honest with yourself and the thing is, I'll let me bring this out there too. If you already know that you have a mental illness and you're abusing drugs and alcohol, you're a step ahead of the game. In my situation, when I was abusing the two of them, I had no idea that I had a mental condition. It wasn't until later that I realized, once I was diagnosed, and then I realized, abusing drugs, specifically cocaine, was feeding a need in my mental illness, the manic state, right? I needed to get my spike, right? So I guess I would maybe work for depression, right? The alcohol, because it's a mood stable, it's a depressant, so it's actually feeding your depression, right? So make that correlation. Like I said, I'm just hypothesizing here. I'm just thinking that, if cocaine, the stimulant, feels within my need for my manic states of bipolar, makes sense that alcohol would probably feed someone who's depressive, right? So be mindful of that as well. And I think that's all I want to say. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm doing fucking fantastic. I have a lot of fucking, a lot of things coming up that I'll fill you on when I have more details. We still got a long fucking way to go, to fix this new life of mine, right? That we started, 3 or 4 years ago. It's not going to open overnight, but I'm extremely positive. There's definitely there's going to be some roadblocks ahead, which I'll discuss another time. But I'm looking at them. How I'm looking at it is I'm almost embracing it, because what I've fucking learned more than anything, is just because something happens in your life that's negative, or it's not the way you want it, and you get pissed off and you're hurt and you're frustrated at the time. How many times in your life has you've got through that, and it's led you to a different road of prosperity or joy, And you wouldn't have got there if this event didn't happen, right? So that's the way I'm looking at things now. So it's almost like, you know, bring on the bad shit, man. Because I know somewhere, somehow, some way, something good is going to fucking come out of that fucking negative part of my life. And when I look back, there's so many fucking examples of that. So many examples in my life that that's occurred. You know, it just kind of just took only 47 years to realize that shit. So anyways, guys, hope the video helps. And, you know, I don't know much more to say than that. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Krahm bless you all. And I wish you the best of luck with your mental illness. And be very self-aware, okay, guys? Understand what is happening to your mind, okay? Really put in the work to understand what's happened to you. You know, because no one's going to fucking do it for you. You know, your family's not going to do it for you. Your friends are not going to do it for you. Fucking doctor's not going to do it for you. Unfortunately, it's one of those things in life where you have to suck the ship and fucking put in the time. Put in the time for you guys. Take care.